Hello, my Esperholics. So today I'm going to continue my discussion, which I brought up for my second episode of Fantastic Fridays, which is the Sonic 25th anniversary, which it finally happened, and I got to watch all the way through. So I was watching it for about like 4 hours. First off, before we get into the games, I want to discuss what it was like watching it. Because like I mentioned before, because of my time zone, it didn't start for me until much later. So I went to the Sonic Stadium website and I checked, and for my time zone, it said that it would start at 9 o'clock. And it didn't. It started instead at 9:30. And all I got to see from 9:30 to maybe like almost 10. Yeah, it was at 10 o'clock. Was this? I mean, the music was kind of cool, but it was on this techno band called Hyper Potion, and they did like techno remixes of music from Sonic Adventure and other Sonic games and crap like that. And it was cool, but honestly kind of embarrassing. Basically, people were not very enthusiastic. Only the people for Hyper Potion was. And there were a lot of audio issues, and music would actually cut out sometimes when they were playing, or you would hear this really loud buzzing noise in the audio. And it lasted actually for a good portion of the show. And there was even at one point where there's a guy, he's apparently the one who runs the Sega Twitter meme account, Aaron Weber, I think that was his name. He was talking about something that Takashi Iizuka said. And then the moment he says, Takashi Iizuka said, he gets cut off. The audio went away. So the audio was extremely bad to the point, it actually made it really embarrassing to watch. And then finally, at 10 o'clock, was when they actually started the freaking thing. And honestly, like, it wasn't that memorable. Like, I honestly don't remember certain aspects of it. I do remember Crush 40 showing up, and that was cool. But see, even the singer sounded kind of bad. I at first thought that wasn't the singer for Crush 40, that they got somebody else to do it, that he couldn't make it or something. But that was him. It wasn't until the singer started to, sing higher notes and tried to hold out a note as long as he could, that's when it sounded more familiar, and I was like, oh, that's actually the guy, that's the singer of Crush 40. But yeah, he sounded extremely tired, he sounded extremely weak, like he was having a hard time holding out the notes, and sometimes he wouldn't hit the notes at all, like instead of hitting, say, the really high vocal parts for like Live and Learn or Open Your Heart, he would take it lower. So it's almost like, he couldn't reach that range anymore or whatever. It felt like he was tired. It felt like he just, was not that prepared, or either he didn't have a lot of time to practice, or he did and maybe his voice was just not as good as it used to be. I don't know. I remember even discussing that with somebody on Facebook while that was going on, and he agreed with me and said that it sounds like he's not taking care of his voice, so that was disappointing. His voice did get better as the concert progressed, and even the concert was kind of lame, it made me wonder, why the hell did those people go if they didn't even really care? None of them was really enthusiastic, none of them was really, pumped or, I don't know, excited or whatever for the concert. Like, when you go to a show, when you go to a concert, you are supposed to, jump. When, the musician, tells you, hey, jump at this part, you jump. It's like you're trying to feed back the same energy that they're giving to you. Like, that's what a show is supposed to be, and I speak from experience. I know what that's like. I've gone to many concerts before, and especially for indie bands called Warped Tour, they would do that, and that's what it's like. This is coming from somebody who's not a emotional, not a hyper, not enthusiastic person, yet the music gets you that way. The music rubs off on you, and eagerness or whatever you want to call it of the musicians kind of rubs off on you, and it didn't at this performance. So that was really lame. I mean, it's freaking Crush 40. These are the guys that made Sonic, at least for me, seem cool. Yeah, we have this silly kind of cartoony looking hedgehog, but then the soundtrack just really boosts up what he's doing, no pun intended, and it just sort of escalates the stakes of what Sonic is doing. It actually does feel more intense because of that. That's why one of my favorite Crush 40 songs, one of my favorite Sonic the Hedgehog songs ever is Open Your Heart. Especially the lyrics that go, the part that goes, if it won't stop, there will be no future for us. It's our final hour. All that hate, gotta set it free. So it's basically, referring to how Chaos is going to freaking flood the earth. Pretty much. It was gonna, destroy the world if, Sonic didn't stop him. And, it's those kind of lyrics, it's that kind of music that really escalates what Sonic is doing and just what the overall level is like, and how you're beating the boss. It really does impact Sonic the Hedgehog, and really video games in general. Music, in my opinion, is arguably one of the most important aspects of a video game, in addition to gameplay and graphics. The graphics can be total crap if the soundtrack really ties into the atmosphere of the game and really just sort of goes along with the gameplay. That can actually help a lot. A perfect example of that would be Spyro the Dragon or The World Ends With You. Graphically, they don't look that good, but the soundtrack and the gameplay are what kind of keep everything together, because it's actually really, really good, for both of those games, and the same would apply to Sonic. Crush 40, for me at least, was a huge part of what made Sonic cool, and without Crush 40, now he just seems really kiddie and really, really silly. A lot of his songs are now like either cliche adventure orchestrated music or really happy, bouncy, kind of like pop rock music. So for me, Crush 40 really was a part of Sonic, so that was really lame, just seeing people not really into Crush 40 and not really, I guess happy to see them, moving on from that. Another thing I remember from the show was, it was freaking embarrassing as hell. That's why I just want to get it out of the way, so then we can talk about the games. For some reason, they had the idea to promote Sonic the Hedgehog with Hello Kitty. And it was all the little Hello Kitty characters wearing costumes of Sonic and his friends, so it's kind of weird. And they spent actually quite some time on that, talking about how, Hello Kitty is an iconic character, and so is Sonic, so it only makes sense for them to be together. It was really weird. The girl talking, I hated her voice. She sounded extremely high-pitched and like a stereotypical preppy girl. And she, again, brought up the cliche, oh, girls like video games, so we should make this girly. Like, no. She actually brought that up at one point, we should represent the girl gamers or whatever, and I hate that. It's stupid. I really hated that part. Thankfully, the Hello Kitty didn't really last that long. It was weird. Oh, and another thing that happened that was really weird too was they had this person pop up in a Sonic the Hedgehog costume, and the person was just there moving his or her, I don't know who the hell it is, arms with the costume like Sonic is dancing or something. It's really weird. Like, why did we have a guy and a person in a Sonic costume? Why? It's just weird. Like, Sonic, why do we have a person in a Sonic costume here? It's freaking weird, And the person popped up from time to time as Sonic. Like, it was just this weird thing they were trying to do, I guess, to make it look like Sonic himself is celebrating his anniversary, but it's weird. Like, we know he's just a character. He cannot physically be there because he has no physical existence. He is not real. But they keep trying to make him pop up. It's freaking weird. Yeah, that was really weird. Anyway, another thing I want to bring up with the technical issues is there was so much buzzing that it was actually really hard to really hear what was going on, like I said before. And it even had parts like of the video cutting out and all of that stuff. So it honestly reminded me of, well, Sonic himself and how his games are known to be glitchy and have lots of issues as well. So needless to say, that was not a good thing, and honestly it felt like this could have just as easily had been streamed with us showing the Sonic games and not the concert or any of that, because it's something that I remember feeling, or thinking when I was watching it too, that this feels more for the people that are there live versus us in the live stream. Because there's nothing for us, there's nothing for the people watching online to get or really have an experience with aside from the games. Like watching a live show of a rock band playing versus you being there in person is completely different. So this, 25th anniversary felt more like for the people who weren't even really happy to be there, by the way. It felt like more like it was just for the people who were there live. So that's also very lame as well. This was very mediocre, to say the least, and that's it for now. Now I'm going to move on to finally the games. And when I do that, I'm also going to bring up some other random issue that happened with the games too. So finally, when they showed off the games, the first one they showed off was more for the classic Sonic fans, which is obvious because even the freaking 25th Sonic anniversary logo had classic Sonic on there. So it was sort of a hint right from the start that this is going to be more for them than for anyone who likes modern Sonic or Sonic Adventure Sonic. And the game was revealed to be called Sonic Mania. This was the game that they were secretly building up to when hyping up and all that stuff, and it does look cool. It's to the point that a lot of people, myself included, were thinking, some people were even putting in the live stream chat, this is what Sonic the Hedgehog 4 should have been, and I agree. Because if it's supposed to take place within the same timeline as the Genesis games, then wouldn't it just make more sense to mimic the Genesis art style for Sonic? Doesn't make sense trying to make him like modern Sonic. Anyway, Sonic Mania does look cool, but as other people have stated before with their thoughts on the anniversary, this is pretty much like a glorified ROM hack. It's basically just a touched up version of Sonic the Hedgehog 1. The sprites look a lot more crisp and smooth and detailed with the lighting and shading. It looks very nice, but it's essentially just Sonic 1 mixed in with some extra levels, and you get to play as Sonic, Knuckles, and Tails. And it has just added levels and added secrets to levels we've already played, like how they showed during the live stream that if you play Green Hill Zone in this game, there's like a hidden cave somewhere. So it's nice that they're trying to sort of reimagine the classic games and the classic levels, but that's all it is. It's just classic Sonic with classic levels, and they add some extra new levels, and that's really it. I mean, they changed some of the bosses here and there, but that's really it. So I wasn't really that hyped for it. I'm not like the biggest classic Sonic fan. I just simply grew up during the 3D era, so I don't have that attachment to Sonic that everyone else has who grew up with him as a classic 2D Genesis character. Now, for those of you who are going to say anything, be like, oh, you're not a real 90s kid or whatever, I am. One of my first ever consoles was the PlayStation, the original PlayStation. I was just simply born during the 2D era of video games. So by the time I was getting older, that was it. The 2D era was gone and 3D popped up. So that's why I grew up with 3D. I was born during the 2D era of video games in the 90s. It was good. It was great. I love the sprites. The sprites look wonderful. It reminds me a lot of. It reminds me of this other game that had a sort of HD makeover, where the sprites were all done in HD and looks very smooth and very clear, and that happened to the World Ends With You. And that's what this reminds me of. It's like a fresh coat of paint, redone Sonic 1 game. But am I gonna get it? And am I gonna let's play it? I don't know. I mean, I might not. Like, I'm not really that excited for it. I'm not really that hyped for it. It looks nice, but that's really it about that. I do like the attention to detail, though. The levels look very, very detailed with so many different colors and shading and highlighting, and all of that is applied to Sonic as well and the other models. Like I said before, this really does feel like a more polished, just Sonic the Hedgehog 1. The models look a lot better. It looks very smooth, very crisp. That's really it. So there's not a lot to really get hyped up about. It was kind of cool though that they did allow people to play it. And again, that's another issue with the game and also just the anniversary. This really does feel more for the people that are physically there live, because they were the ones. They were the first ever people to be able to try out Sonic Mania before it's even released to the public. That was their special, bonus treat for being there, and not us. Not the people who couldn't be there. So that's another thing. Like, it really does feel like everyone who just wasn't there physically was just screwed over. Like, they should have allowed us to then maybe, I don't know, download a demo or something for PC. And, since obviously nothing is free, make the demo cost, a little bit of money, not that much, because then we, people who can be there physically and are watching it in some, live stream, chat room, then we could have at least gotten something as well. But we really didn't. It was really just for the people who were there live. Sonic Mania was revealed. For a while, nothing really happened. If I remember right, the Lego Sonic came a bit later, actually. Yeah, they played Crush 40 for a long, long time, and then I remember people even thinking, hey, is that it? Are they not going to reveal anything else? Is it just Sonic Mania? Because it really did feel like it was going on for a long time. So then Lego Sonic was revealed. It was cool, seeing Sonic pop up in this game that I can only imagine how expensive it was. It combined Sonic with 16 other IPs, so you can only imagine what the hell did they have to do to be able to afford all those copyrights and afford to use all these characters like Harry Potter, the Doctor from Doctor Who, the Ghostbusters, that little gremlin guy that turns into a monster at midnight, if you feed him at midnight. Like all these really, really iconic, like, pop culture, iconic characters. And then you get on top of that Sonic the Hedgehog. So I can only imagine how freaking expensive Lego Dimensions, or this version of it, was just to even, start making. So seeing Sonic there was really cool. I'm not really into Lego games or any of that stuff, so again, that wasn't really for me. Needless to say, I was kind of disappointed. I felt like there wasn't really much for anybody else there unless you like classic Sonic. And that's, by the way, another thing that they said in the show. They're like, oh, if you like Sonic, there'll be something for everybody. And yeah, sure enough there was, but it didn't feel like that at first. After Takashi Iizuka pops up, and it's like, oh hey, by the way, Sonic Mania was not the game that was for 2017. That's not Project Sonic. And then we finally find out Project Sonic 2017 is this game that, from the trailer, it really did give me a Sonic 06 kind of vibe. It really did feel very intense and dramatic. And then classic Sonic popped up. And for me, that just threw me off. Takashi Iizuka apparently said before the video started that this was not a sequel to Sonic Generations. but I don't remember that. I really don't. But everyone, even freaking Game Explain, is saying that that's what happened. So I trust Game Explain, you know. So anyway, apparently he said that, and you know, then Sonic shows up, and then I feel like that just sort of ruins the, I guess you could say, hype of the game a little bit for me, because you know, Sonic hasn't had his own, you know, real standalone game since Sonic Lost World, and that came out a few years ago already. So Sonic has not had his own real standalone game for a while, and then we finally get the next Sonic game for 2017, and pop, there's classic Sonic. So it's like, why can't he just be on his own and have his own spotlight again? Why is he sharing it again with classic Sonic? Yes, I know classic Sonic sales everything. He's like just the most iconic version of Sonic. I get it, but it's like, you know, if you're gonna try to then fix modern Sonic, try to fix modern Sonic. Don't just shove classic Sonic in there as your little guinea pig, as your money machine, as your little piggy bank to just get you more and more money because classic Sonic is in it. You know what I mean? So I just feel like he was just there to just hype up the game a bit more and just try to get more people to like it, and try to then get the classic fans to like it and want to play the game. So that did kind of rub me the wrong way. It did kind of annoy me to an extent, but I'm interested. You know, I want to see what the game is going to be like, and even the trailer at the end says something like "Join the Resistance," and that's pretty dramatic. You know, that's a very dark tone in comparison to the games we had before, like Sonic Lost World, Sonic Colors, Sonic Generations. This feels like it's going to have a more intense and dark atmosphere. So that's kind of neat, and I really, really like that. I really hope that they do try that again, because I miss when Sonic was actually taken seriously and not just treated as a silly, wacky Saturday morning cartoon character. And that reminds me, they also, during the breaks, had this like timeline of Sonic popping up, which was cool and, you know, really neat to watch. But by their logic, I'm apparently a modern Sonic fan, apparently. Because, see, I always thought of Sonic Adventure and modern Sonic being separate, because they are. In terms of gameplay, in terms of the characters' personalities, in terms of their behavior, they are separate characters. And yet, according to the timeline, when it got to Sonic Adventure, it said modern Sonic is born. So, according to Sega, there is no Adventure Sonic. There is, you know, modern and classic only. So that's kind of weird. So overall, it was really fun, I guess. I don't know. It's hard to explain. It's like, it was cool watching the trailer for that, and, you know, it was cool seeing Sonic Mania, but I felt so disorganized. I felt like it dragged on a little bit. They had parts that were just not really interesting, like having the Sonic Boom voice actors pop up and start talking about how much they like Sonic or whatever. So it was okay. It was still kind of cool, you know, but basically I'm more interested in Project Sonic 2017. And I really hope that they do pull off making a more serious Sonic story. Just don't go Sonic 06, you know, like, don't make it that over the top and over dramatic. Like, Sonic Adventure was dramatic, but it still had some silliness to it, and the same goes for Sonic Adventure 2. That's what I'm hoping for the next game. So, this is ASper Gaming going away. I hope you enjoyed this video. I know I talked a bit too long, but there was a lot to cover, so I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you all next time. Bye.